tuia I runga, tuia I raro, tuia I waho, tuia I roto, tuia te here tangata. Ka rongo ia rā, ka rongo ia ao. Hui e haumi e tae ki e. Kia ora.
Kia ora.
Welcome everybody. And thank you for making time for this occasion. First and foremost, my apologies for speaking in English and not an official language of New Zealand. And I'd just like to welcome you all. Thank you for the effort. This year is the first time ever that we are celebrating the Tiriti-based Multicultural Day in New Zealand, hoping that it will become an annual event. It is a very, very, very humble start, made very humble because of COVID-19 and the lockdown. We chose Friday, the last Friday of the month, so that we could all be our normal people, dress up the way we dress up from the homeland that we come from, and we go to work, go to supermarket and all. We didn't want it to be a weekend. We wanted it to be a weekday. And there's been a lot of support for this event, which brings all cultures together. And it makes us a truly diverse, reflected true diversity of New Zealand. It's such a huge privilege that as Multicultural New Zealand, we were able to initiate that. I'd like to say thank you to all the leaders, community leaders who are here, and also those who have our member council. Thank you very much for supporting this event. We have stickers to share, to give out, and there will be a more formal when we launch through the year, even if it's a little belated. But given that today is the last Friday of the year, sorry, of the month, August, that we nominated, we thought we'll just kick it off anyway. So what we want to do here today is to celebrate, tell our stories one by one, tell our stories, what we have done today, and also a little bit about our cultures. We are recording this session, and we will share this session very widely. So please let's be crisp and sharp about our stories, and let's tell the stories to New Zealand and enjoy this day. So welcome. Thank you all very much for being here. So over back to you, Gutesa, for you to call out one by one for us to tell our stories.
Sure. Thank you, Anna. Thank you for the karakia and the opening.
Yeah, I'm excited to celebrate this day as a treaty-based multicultural day. Basically, I was trying to discuss this with my workplace, and then because it's my workplace is very, very big, what I did was about 3 weeks ago, I met with the inclusion and diversity team that organize a celebration and function related to different culture. And then I just informed them that Multicultural New Zealand, through its regional council, is organizing nationwide treaty-based multicultural day. Probably we may not be do this year in a big scale, but it's a beginning. But based on the learning from this year, probably next year we could do something in our workplace. That's I discussed with my workplace. And also, I also discussed with the HMC people, and also in the strategic session about 3 weeks ago. Actually, we were planning to do something with the Hut City Council, but because of the COVID level, alert level 4, we couldn't do that because we should look after one another and instead of celebrating. So probably this is we started like that's a lay of foundation this year. Probably based on that foundation, we'll do in a bigger scale next year. And I'm originally from Nepal, and I also like a Nepali culture and using my Nepali hat and also a Sherpa jacket today. And also I forwarded the post Gurjat posted on Facebook to my friends network.
Thank you
and
for
also
that.
put in my story, and my personal story.
Excellent, excellent.
That's all from mine.
Thank you, Tribhuvan. Next on the screen, I can see Angus.
Kia ora koutou. Ko Sky toku motu. Ko McKinnon toku mata waka. Ko Commodore toku waka. Ko Angus aho. So kia ora, my people came to Aotearoa in about 1850 via Scotland, well, from Scotland via Tasmania, and then moved to Otago, and over the generations have moved up from Gore in the South Island to Lower Hutt, and now I live in Porirua, where I am part of the Porirua Multicultural Council, which is how I come to be here. And this has been an incredibly enriching experience being a part of Multicultural New Zealand, as far as the exposure I have to so many wonderful people and cultures, all here, right here in New Zealand. It's not a particularly new thing, because growing up in Petone or in Lower Hutt, it's very multicultural. The sports that I've been involved in, always multicultural, between cricket and rugby and football. My family seems to have a lot of different cultures, from Japan through to Jamaica, and with people from the US, Germany, all sorts of different cultures throughout our family, which is also a lot of fun. And my partner also is a migrant who has been here for nearly 20 years nearly 20 years in New Zealand. I have had the experience of living in Australia, and Australians in New Zealand is from one sense similar, but from a New Zealand perspective or Australia, there are differences. So I have had the experience of being noticed for not being Australian when I lived there, which was an interesting experience. I just love this kaupapa, the treaty-based, celebrating treaty-based multiculturalism. It's a wonderful thing. So thank you all very much. Thanks for allowing my introduction and story.
Thank you, Angus. Kia ora. Next to you, I see Mary from Multicultural Nelson Tasman. Sorry, Mary, I can't hear you. You need to unmute yourself.
Kia ora koutou, everyone. Thank you for having this. I was so excited before COVID to wear my dress at work and make everybody sing. Because that is really traditional Korean. You're supposed to, everybody has to sing a solo. But darn it, I couldn't make my colleagues sing today because of COVID. So I'm here at home. Born and raised in South Korea by a very traditional Korean mom with those traditional Korean values of you must study and you must do as I say, not as I do. So, so I was raised by her, and a very relaxed Polish father who said, if you can put it off tomorrow, do it tomorrow. Might as well enjoy yourself and relax, have a cigar, drink a can of beer, watch the sports. So he was a very relaxed man. My mother, on the other hand, was very ambitious and impatient. So I had this great cultural difference, and I absolutely feel very, very honored to and privileged to have been raised in two very different cultures, because for me, the important thing is the love. And that's the important thing, the love and the caring. And what I love about our group is that I see so much of that in everybody's work. So anyway, that's a little bit about me. Thank you.
Thank you. Excellent. Excellent. Next on my screen, I see, oh, screens have just switched off. So I see Emma Newcomb.
Kia ora koutou. Can you hear me?
Yes, now we can, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, kia ora, ko te waipo namu toko kāinga. E whānau mai aho ki Ototahi. I tipu ake aho, no, I whānau mai aho ki Otipoti. I tipu ake aho ki Ototahi. E naine, e noho ana aho ki Whakatū. Ko tēnei te pepeha o tōku wahi noho. Ko maunga tapu te maunga, ko mahitahi te awa, ko kakiti te whare tupuna, te wakatu te marae. Ko emanukum tōku ingoa. So I am, yes, born and raised in Christchurch, born in Dunedin, raised in Christchurch in a very monocultural sort of a situation. So I am the outsider here, which is good. I spent some time in southern Patagonia in Chile, where I had 4 years as the outsider who didn't speak the language. And yes, there's a very big piece of my heart in Patagonia. Thank you for this meeting today. It's the first time I've joined in one of your meetings. So it's very nice to meet you all. Kia ora.
Thank you. Thank you, Kia ora. Next on my on my list is Sela Y Bauliko.
Aloha everyone, my name is Sela Bauliko. I am of Samoan descent. My parents migrated here in the 1970s in search of a better future, I guess. And I'm very privileged to be here today. I attended the first meeting at Pataka, so it was nice to be there. Yeah, that's all from me.
Kia ora. Thank you. Next is Rabia Inayatullah. Rabia, can you hear me?
Oh, sorry, I just realized my mic was muted that whole time.
Oh, look at that.
Sure.
I know, it's a once in a lifetime moment. So are we just doing intros?
Yes.
Yes.
And yes.
Kia ora, assalamu alaikum. For those that don't know me, I'm Rabia. I'm the Secretary for Multicultural New Zealand and for Porirua Multicultural Council. I was born and raised here in New Zealand, but my family comes from Fiji, so my grandparents came here, mum was born here, and then my dad's from Pakistan, so a mixture of the two. I currently, I guess, yeah, so this is, hence this, represents the culture. Yeah, I don't want to take up too much time because I know there's quite a few intros to get through, so I'll leave it at that.
Thank you. Next I can see is Ananta.
Kia ora everyone, my name is Ananta Narayanan. I currently reside in Hamilton, and I'm the product of what happens when a Malaysian Indian man and a Malaysian Chinese woman eloped to New Zealand and start a new life. But it's been my pleasure to be raised, born and bred in New Zealand, in Wellington. I guess having a lot of different cultures in my background Malaysian, Indian, Chinese, Kiwi. I like to connect with heritage and culture through food, through music, through language, and through social events. I've been involved with the Multicultural New Zealand for a number of years in several different roles, right from the time of being a youth member, and have certainly seen it grow a lot, not only in size, but in momentum and kaupapa and purpose as well, and it's been incredible to see. I work in healthcare, and a lot of what I see is disparity in health, particularly with regards to things like cardiovascular disease, diabetes, kidney disease, and I think New Zealand needs to do a lot to address ethnic and geographic disparities in health for all New Zealanders. But it's a pleasure and a privilege to see you all, see so many colours, so many beautiful clothes, and it's a pleasure to be here. So thank you.
Thank you, Ananta. Next is Savye Nua.
Kia ora mai tātou, ko Savye Nua tuku I ngā he uri tēnei no Ngāti Hāmoa, he uri tēnei hoki no Te Tairāwhiti. But kia ora, I'm Savye Nua, also known as Savye. My parents are migrants here from the beautiful islands of Samoa. They moved here, Dad moved here in 1960, and my mother came 20 years later, 1990. But yeah, I'm a school teacher here by trade. I currently hold the Aneva residency at Pātaka Museum to represent the LGBTQIA+ and NVP FAF communities. Like some of us here, I work closely with the rangatahi here in Porirua to pretty much close the gaps in education. And that is my goal and my thrive. This is my second meeting attending Multicultural Society Hui type setting, but it's great to meet you all. But kia ora.
Thank you. Thanks. Next, I can see Kerry Scott.
Kia ora. Thank you for having me and letting me introduce myself, which is one of the things that I found very touching when I came to Porirua and had my citizenship ceremony. I felt welcomed probably for the first time here and a belonging by local iwi, Ngāti Toa. And I think what's really inspired me about Multicultural New Zealand, firstly, was Horahi Ho. I thought that was just such an amazing initiative that I've always felt support since. So having a multicultural day, a Te Tiriti-based multicultural day, I think is just wonderful. So thank you for initiating it.
Excellent. Thank you, Kerry. Next, I see Paramjit Singh.
Sat Sri
Akal.
My name is Paramjit Singh, and in New Zealand for last 33 years. I was born in India, studied in India, worked in India, and then moved to Africa. I lived in Kenya for about 5 years, and then Zambia for another 5 years, and then moved to New Zealand. I've had the opportunity to travel in different parts of the world, work with different ethnicities in the world, the Americans, the Dutch, and few other nationalities. So been exposed to diversity in the world. What I see is that New Zealand, such a small country in terms of the population, and we have probably one of the highest diversity in the world, of about 220 or more ethnicities living in such a small country. And we are blessed, let me tell you that, in terms of being geographically isolated from the turmoils of this world. If you come to think what is happening in other parts of the world, some of their actions are indeed shocking. Anyway, that's the international scene. So we should consider ourselves really blessed here. And the only thing I would say is the more we open up with one another, the more we start sharing and caring without fear and develop an atmosphere of trust, then I think we are all here. We will enjoy the diversity. Otherwise, if we don't open up, don't share, and just try to be in our own shell, then we will lose the plot. So let us enjoy ourselves in a blessed country. Trust each other. Let's create the bonds of trust. And we will definitely love this country. And this will be the best country to raise your children. That's what I would say.
Sure. Thank you, Paji.
So much. Let's go.
Next, I see Jenny Tatua.
Tēnā koutou, e te ti e te tā, nei rā te mihi mai oha, mihi mahana ki a koutou katoa. Ko Jenny tōku ingoa, no Ngāti Hamo o Kumātua, no Ngāti Hamo ki a hau, engari, I whānau I tipu ake au ki tēnei taone #1, ara a Parearua, Poriroa. No reira, tēnā koutou, tēnā tātou katoa. Good afternoon or good late evening, everybody. Everybody looks beautiful, colourful, representing the beautiful nations that you come from. So a little bit about myself. I am of Samoan and also Tongan heritage. So both my parents are from the big island of Savye in Samoa. My father is from Salulonga. So if you've been to Samoa, it's the port from Apia to Savye, that is Savye, that whole port area, that's Salulonga, just if someone here has been to Samoa. And my mother is from two villages. Her mother is from Satupaitea and my grandfather is from Vailopalauli. And my grandmother on my father's side also whakapapas to Tonga, and her great-grandfather or great-great-grandfather, direct descendant of the first king of Tonga. So yeah, I mean, you know, I would like to call myself royalty, but I'll have to go back to Tonga and say, hey, I'm related to you. But yeah, so that's a little bit about myself. I'm born and raised in Poriroa, and my connection to our beautiful whānau here is being one of the founding members of the Poriroa Multicultural Council. And at the moment, I'm sitting with our beautiful council under the leadership of Angus, President Angus, as one of the committee members. But it's great to be part of this platform. Thank you, Pancha. Thank you to your team and to everybody here for celebrating today. So, ngā mihi, kia ora.
Kia ora. Thank you. Next is Martha Ayoshi.
Kia ora te whānau, ko toku ingo, ko Martha Yosia. My name is Martha Yosia, proud daughter of the Moana, hail from the beautiful Pacific Islands of Tuvalu, Nanea and Tokelau Atahu. I was born in Wellington and raised in Porirua. This is my second event I've attended, a Porirua Multicultural Council event. Thank you to Jenny for the invite, and here to everyone speaking in Te Reo Māori and showcasing their cultures. I am too on my own Te Reo Māori journey and looking forward to learning more here tonight. Kia ora.
Excellent. Kia ora. Thank you. Next, Lux Salvanesan. I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yep, absolutely.
Okay, kia ora everybody, wanakkam, talapalafa, nihama, namaste, bula wanaka. So I just realized that I should have worn my cultural attire. So we're in lockdown, so it's all one attire for me last 3 days. But you know, it's lovely to see you all, and I'm so happy to see. This is the best part of the lockdown, seeing all these multicultural outfits and all the colorful people, and so honored and privileged to be part of this family of diverse whānau. Myself, I'm a Tamil from Sri Lanka, north of the little teardrop of the Indian Ocean, they call it. And so we left as sort of refugees running away from civil war, and went to Middle East to do my schooling, and then went to another beautiful island called Cyprus to do my first part of the studies, and met a whole lot of Europeans, Eastern Europeans there, and learned a lot about their culture, European culture, and then finally ended up in Australia and Auckland briefly, and then to the last 20 years. So I've been lucky and have a family of 4 kids, all teenagers, and so lockdown is very interesting with 4 teenagers in the house, and I think we're just getting a hint of that cabin fever coming through. So thank you for having me part of this. Kia ora.
Thank you. Kia ora. Welcome. Next, I see Poswan.
Tēnā koto katoa. Kledang Range and the Rimutaka Hill is the mountain. Kinta River and the Hutt River is the water. Hokkien and Hindu is the iwi. The Newlands Hindu Temple and Orongamai Marae is my marae. I'm from Upper Hutt. Ku and Narayanan is my name. And I am from, my name is Poswan Narayanan, and I work with the Ministry of Social Development, as well as I'm a volunteer at the Upper Hutt Multicultural Council. I have been in New Zealand for more than 30 years, brought up 2 lovely children. Both of them are successful adults now. I was involved with the multicultural community for the last 25 years, inspired by my foster mom, the late Jasmine Underhill, who is from the Cook Islands, and also a former deputy mayor of Porirua, as well as the late Anne Dysett, and obviously the Narayanan family. I work closely with the migrant and former refugee community with a focus on safe and successful settlement in New Zealand. And I must say that it's lovely to see all of you here. Hello. And it's nice to see all the different colorful, lovely people in front of the screen here. Thank you, and enjoy the day.
Kia ora. Thank you very much, Poswan. Next is Bhaiji Pram Singh.
Correct.
We also want to see you, Bhaiji. Oh yes, there you are.
Okay. Kia ora and greetings to you all. My name is Pram Singh. You probably can see me. I was still at work. I tried to dash in and find a place where I could join you people all. So beautiful, no doubt. So people have spoken about. You look so beautiful. Unfortunately, I'm still in my overall at came from work. Regard to me, yes, I am originally from Fiji. a country, a very tiny island in the Pacific, where the best rugby players in the world is produced. And the sevens rugby players, sorry, I should say, rather than rugby players, sevens, they are the best country who wins most of the sevens rugby. And recently you might have heard that this year we have won the cup as well. Now, I first came in this country in 1975 and for a study on a scholarship, and been here till 80, and then I had to go back home because I was on a scholarship. Then finally I decided to move permanently here in 1987. And that was when we had our first school in Fiji. That was not the primary reason, because I was planning to migrate to Australia, but maybe the coup just speeded up the process. Since I came in 1989, I joined into the Ethnic Council. It was called Ethnic Council Wellington. I joined in there as a treasurer first, and then became secretary. And from there onwards, I have been engaged with the Federation and with my local Multicultural Council Wellington. I have been in most of the posts, been in the treasurer, secretary, vice president, and president as well for both. And currently, I have worked as the treasurer of the Federation. Now, regard to what we are expecting, it is, I must say that Federation is moving into a very positive direction. And at this stage, we have got a great leader. We have been trying to go up to and get engaged with the people of the land. And we have been trying this out for a number of years. And this year, our president was successful in getting that done. Yeah. And it was so great that a number of you must have attended that, and what a privilege it was, and what an honor it was. So must say that the team that we are with and the leader that we have got is taking it into a very positive direction. I'd like to say that you all support that. Thank you.
Thank you, Baiji. Next, I'm just going through the list. Lion. Very nice.
Kia ora. How's everybody? I don't have a national costume here, so I thought I'd put that on.
That was really good.
Good to see all of you, and thank you for allowing me to join. This is the first time I've gone into a team meeting. Yeah. I'm originally from Malaysia. I've been here over 40 years. My wife and 3 daughters are all New Zealand born. My wife's parents are from Guangzhou, China. I have 3 son-in-laws, and they're all international. One's Kiwi, one's Maori Irish with Samoan surname, and one's Tongan Kiwi. So my grandchildren, my 6 grandchildren, all have wonderful mixed blood. So it's a real international family. And I'm with TRIP at Hut Multicultural Council. And it's been fun. It's been interesting being part of the multicultural family. The things that we can get involved in, the things that we are involved in, and the things that we can actually do in the community is that's wonderful. And it's good to see so many of you volunteering your time and sacrificing your time in doing all these things for the community. So thank you all, and kia kaha.
Kia ora. Thank you. And next one is Diona.
Camera.
Oh,
Hi,
yes.
everyone.
Yeah.
Good to see you.
Good to see.
I'm very pleased to be with you this afternoon. So, as I knew, we will dress our traditional costume. So I wear our Chinese costume today. Yeah, sorry, I'm a bit nervous.
Oh, it's all right. Excellent.
So, do we introduce ourselves or?
Yeah, just a bit about you. I mean, how you see yourself. I mean, your background. Something about that.
Okay. My name is Diona, and my Chinese name is Savye Liu. Xiao means the daybreak or sunrise. Jie means purity. Liu is my surname. My ancestor are from Zhongnu Empire. They reside in Mongolia, China before. But in Han Dynasty, we came into China and being Hanized, become the Han ethnicity. I've been living in North China, the Yellow River. So my hometown is the Xi'an, where the terracotta soldiers are. That's capital of 13 dynasties Chinese history, which is very old. I came to New Zealand about 6 years ago with my son, living in Wanganui for 3 years. I actually joined the Multicultural Council about 2 years ago, and I've been learning a lot from the people from our organization. Very happy about this. Okay, I'm very pleased to be here with all of you today. Thank you.
Excellent. Welcome. Thank you. Thank you very much. Next is Summer.
How are you doing? Congratulations for Multicultural Day. I haven't get a chance to put my traditional Chinese clothes, but next time I will.
Summer, could you tell us about yourself? I mean,
I'm originally from China, and I'm with the Upper Hutt Multicultural Council. Yeah. That's about it.
all right. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Nice to meet you all.
Likewise. Thank you. Next is Eros Lee.
Hi, sorry, I'm just setting up for my mom.
Okay.
So this is actually for my mom, so I'm not
Okay, no,
participating.
that's
Thanks.
fine.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. So I have just gone around and I think I have covered everyone. There were a few guests who have, I think, left after introducing themselves, or they were busy. They said they have another meeting to attend. So about 3 guests have left. And if anyone is left out there, my apologies if I have not covered you. I'm going through the list. I don't see anyone there that has not spoken. But if you are not spoken, please grab the mic and share with us your thoughts.
Yeah, my name is Panjanadam Narayanan, and I'm 4th generation Malaysian Indian. I came to New Zealand as a student in 1987 and made this my home. I'm interculturally married and I enjoy the different cultures at home. Our children look like Maori, Samoan, Tongan, Tokelauan. My wife is Malaysian Chinese. What I'm wearing today is not my traditional attire. but it is an attire of a land that I love very much. And I've been there many times. It is from a place called Himachal Pradesh, which is at the foothills of the Himalayas. And they wear this hat like the Scottish tartans. They also have colors by the clans that they belong to. So this was a gift from a dear friend of mine that I went to university with. It's such a huge privilege that where we are today, that we can actually create a multicultural environment in New Zealand. That is the freedom that we have. And there's so many lovely stories I've heard today that of intercultural marriage, children born from intercultural relationships, each one of us carrying at least one ethnicity. Such a huge privilege. I live in Upper Hutt. In Upper Hutt, the city council had embraced this celebration and they wanted to make it in a big way, promote it through their networks and channels. I will not say it is unfortunate that we are in a lockdown. I think this is natural. This is what it is. And as New Zealanders, we do what we can with what we have. It's a huge privilege. And lovely stories that I've heard. And it's lovely to be part of those stories as well. Behind me, you see the background picture. The dish is called muruku. It's a very ancient recipe that comes from South India, where my ancestors come from. Great to be here and great to be to have this cultural immersion. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Anna.
I'd like to reflect on the poll tax. I'd like to reflect on the dawn rates, how we have come through all of these things, right? Where this and also the treaty settlements, right? Not all of us don't feel that it is complete, that we have, every community doesn't feel that the situation through the apology is complete. But the fact is that this country has apologized. And that makes New Zealand unique, right? That makes New Zealand extremely special, right? And we need to be very proud that as a small society, this is innovation, social innovation, right? And that's innovation. And we should be proud. I want us to talk about how we felt about these things, about poll tax, about the dawn rates, and also about the treaty settlements, right? And I think that that's part of being multicultural as well, right? Three different societies, right? Being a big part of New Zealand, right? And wrongful doings we have tried to correct that as a society. If there's anyone who wants to share some stories around that, it would be good. Kutecha, we probably should invite all of them to put their email addresses in the chat group so that we can keep connected. Right?
Sure. I mean, many of you, we are already in touch, but there are some guests which we have never met earlier. So we would very much like to keep in touch with them. Yeah. And if you would like to leave your email address, or you can even send it direct to me if you don't want to put it publicly. So direct message can also be sent. Thank you.
And I think that the Tangata Whenua and the Pacific people who are here today, salutations as well. And I think that it is quite a day today to see so many different cultures from the South Pacific present. Special thank you to Pariarua.
Anyone else you would like to share anything, any topic, please?
Talofa, I suppose I'll say a few words before I've got to head off. We have a national youth Zoom for Pacific young people Obviously, as you know, sorry, so just in terms of my work hat, I work for the Ministry for Pacific Peoples. So it's been very full on, you know, working closely with the Ministry of Health, because obviously the most people that have been affected with the Delta or infected are our Pacific peoples. So it's been a pretty hectic week. You know, for our roles, we are very on the ground, connected and engaged with our communities all across the country. So, you know, for us, it's been being in contact with the Minister, the Prime Minister, making sure that, you know, do we know these people from these Assemblies of God churches, which many of us that work in the ministry do know and are connected. So a lot of what we've had to do is really, you know, try and engage and try and massage the conversation, because, you know, for many of us that might not know, you know, our church leaders are the key people that really bring our communities together. Our church leaders from all the different denominations, they are the key people that our Pacific people will listen to. And when you have a church leader that is probably anti the vaccination, a lot of people will follow, you know. So a lot of what we've had to do over the many months has been trying to run Zoom, so we call them whanors. Whanor is like a hui. To get our church leaders involved, to bring in the health clinicians that are Pacific, doctors, Pacific nurses, to try and help our Pacific people understand, you know, the severity of the Delta, you know, this Delta variant, especially over the last week. We've been having daily meetings with the minister and a lot of church leaders across the country, because they are the key people that are going to support and help our people get vaccinated, get tested. So those are some of the things in terms of my work capacity. And so tonight we have a youth whanau, because obviously a lot of the people that have been infected are young people that aren't vaccinated as well. So this Zoom session whanau, we have about 500 people that have registered, 500 young people, Pacific young people that have registered, and it's been pretty big because it's also gone outside of the country. So we have, you know, Pacific young people that are living in Korea, France, that kind of want to jump in and learn, you know, seeing what's happening in their own communities. So forgive me, I think that's where the other 3 Pacific young ladies have gone. They've gone into that youth Zoom. And I'll head in a little bit later, but I'm really thankful to be a part of this platform for just reflecting on the dawn raids. And I know I didn't talk too much about my family. So, you know, my parents, my father migrated here in the early 70s, and, you know, he was a part of the dawn raids. He was around during that time. He lived in Grey Lynn. And also, you know, back then, he never really talked about the dawn raids. I didn't even know, you know, about the dawn raids until I was older. And then it wasn't until the last few months, just with the ministry helping to prepare the ceremony, being a part of the ceremony, you know, I'd try and ask him questions, but he didn't really want to talk about it, because obviously there's a lot of people that still don't really want to talk about that period. Because, you know, a lot of it was traumatic. For, you know, there were some things that he said was that even though there weren't people didn't die from the hands of the police, but, you know, people that were being deported back to their islands, a lot of it was shame. And so a lot of, you know, young males, you know, that were heading back, some had committed suicide because it was a shame to, you know, for their families, for them heading back. And some of it wasn't their fault. It was like them trying to get their papers sorted, but then those raids ended up being straight to the courts and straight back on the plane. So, you know, being a part of the ceremony, you know, it was emotional, but also, yes, like you said, Pancha, you know, moving in the right direction. You know, of course, for our Pacific communities, there is still, you know, we could have done this, we could have done that, but the main thing is there's been an apology, and it's going to be continuous, you know, conversations and relations with, you know, the government and Pacific peoples. But thank you for your support as well, and Pancha, you know, having that conversation a couple of weeks ago at our workshop in Porirua. But for me also, you know, I have a very strong and passionate heart for our ethnic minorities. I mean, I've lived in Japan for about 5 years. My studies was Asian studies, and I, you know, and just growing up around many of my close friends who were former refugee migrants. So, you know, for my heart, being a part of the Porirua Multicultural Council, it has always been to uplift and bring our migrant communities to a place where they're thriving. You know, we have many that already are, but we know that we do have many that are just, you know, just slowly starting. And at the same time, we still have a lot of our Pacific people that are still in poverty. But, you know, I think for me, it's great to be walking in these different spaces and being able to serve our people. It doesn't matter whether I'm Samoan, you know, and because a lot of friends are like, oh, it's so interesting that you're part of the Multicultural Council, you know, but I'm like, oh, well, why not? You know, like, let's get involved, you know, because there's still a lot of people that don't know too much about, you know, the Multicultural Federation. So for us being a council, it's all about raising awareness, raising the profile. What are we about? So very thankful. Yeah, so that's just a little bit of a reflection from me. I love it.
Thank you very much, Jenny. That was really touching, and thank you for sharing your thoughts with us. Next, I would like to again request Diona, because we see that she's got very nice setup there. So first she introduced herself, but I would like to request to her now that if she can tell us what is on the table and what's the significance of that.
Okay, hi, can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Oh, good. Thank you very much for let me sharing all this. So the setup, so firstly, the background here is the Chinese calligraphy. This one is Zhen, means truth, genuine. So the pronunciation is like the Zhen of region. And this one is Shan. It translates as compassionate, good and kind. Shan. And that one is Ren, translated as tolerant, composed, and patient. So these three words or principles are the essence of Falun Dafa. Yeah, so this is the, I made this myself. It's quite nice. Yep. Okay, on my table, this one is actually a brochure of about traditional Chinese culture. You see that?
Yes.
Yeah, Shenyun. Here is a website. If you go there, you can see a lot of beautiful videos and music and information there. Sure. This art group based in New York, and their mission is to revive the 5,000 years of traditional Chinese culture using the form of classical Chinese dance. Yeah. So here awesome. Is also a place where I do a Chinese tea ceremony to my friends and guests when they come. Here is also my meditation room. So also you might see this book here. This is one of our Falun Dafa master's poem. It's all very nice poems, and all the teachings has been translated into 40 different languages. Yeah, if you are interested, I can read one of them to you later.
Yes, sure. Yeah. Thank you, Diana. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Can I acknowledge Diana as well? It was so nice at our governance training session in Christchurch, Diana was possibly the only person who attended the governance training in her cultural attire. So
excellent.
so proud that someone is so proud of their culture and very comfortable in New Zealand. So, the thing is that maybe if with all the technology skills you have with Tesa, if we can edit some of these things, and then we have the long version, and let's have the edited version as well.
Sure,
and then put it on our website. Right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And what it has turned out to be is that we talked about many cultures, right? And we had a showcase of the Pacific culture and the ancient Chinese culture, right? And if we could highlight these cultures, I feel very privileged if we could do that. That's everyone's gift to New Zealand being a truly treaty-based multicultural society.
Sure, absolutely.
Can we invite Diona to say a closing prayer?
明白你就找真相，名利奔波人人忙，辗转轮回换皮囊。人生匆匆我是谁？前世红今生白，下世不知黑与黄。一生财富带不走，百年后又用土作房。世人多数来自天堂，因为创世主来传法救亡。现代观念行为不吉祥，无神论进化论都把用心藏。我唱的是真相，回天的渡船就起航。And I found the English version. Okay, this the meaning is that if you understand, just look for the truth. Everybody, the people are busy at pursuing fame or profit, but in your reincarnations, you change your clothing. Our life is so short, but who am I? I might be red skin, and in my former life, and now I'm white, but in next life, I don't know what my skin color will be. I can't bring all the fortunes anyway, and after 100 years, I will be living in the house made by earth. Most people here are coming from heaven, because the Creator coming to the earth to spread the fire to save sentient beings. While the modern notion and behavior will not bring people blessings or luck. And we should still believe in God and don't trust those distorted sayings. What I'm singing is the truth. And the ship, which is going back to heaven, is getting to start now. Yeah, that's the meaning, but it's not the accurate English version here.
But still, I mean, we get the idea of it, and it's beautiful. Thank you.
Lovely.
Yeah. Thank you.
If there is any last thought, anybody wants to say anything, otherwise, thank you, everyone, and thank you for attending the meeting today, and wish you all the best. Have a great weekend. Stay safe and stay healthy. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Kia ora koutou. Pomare.
Pomare.